Well, hello, y'all.
Hey,
How are y'all doing?
where's everybody at?
It's time. I know. We're on with American Horror Story right now. I know. But we didn't want to come too late.
Yeah,
Hey, what's up, y'all? Popping in. How are y'all doing? Well, welcome to another night of Q&A with the Kings. Y'all ready? Cause we got some good questions tonight. We got
yeah,
some good questions tonight. So
yeah. But before we get started, did you want? I didn't want to start with Q&A. I want to start with some of the things that's going on in the
don't do that. Cause some of the questions,
related to that.
depending on what you're about to talk about, it might be.
Okay, well then I won't. All right.
If it's about, uh,
No, just go on.
no, I'm just saying because I have a feeling I know what you're gonna want to talk about,
Mhm.
but it's a question that somebody sent us.
Hi Neil.
It's just me and you right
Oh,
now.
oh,
So,
is it okay?
all right. So let's just get down to the nitty gritty because both of us are not feeling the best right now.
Yeah, it's been like a tough week.
So, but we did it because we always do it. Hey, Tanya.
Hey
We're
Tanya.
doing it because we always do it every Wednesday at 10 o'clock.
That's right.
So we're going to do it tonight, even though we both are a little bit under the weather, but it's all good. So, the first question is if this will do what it's supposed to do right now, but it's not. So let's get that right now. The first question is one of my close friends is in an abusive relationship. How can I be a true friend to my friend without letting them drain me?
Ooh. Um. If
Actually, Tanya, that's one of our questions coming up. Somebody already sent that to us. So that will be answered and addressed.
Okay, your friend is in a abusive relationship, and you want to know how can you continue to be their friend without letting them train you. The only thing you can do is listen. That's really it. You can't do anything but listen. Um, I'll quote something from a very famous movie, Jason's Lyric. Something that Jada Pinkett said. You can't save somebody that don't want to be saved. Now, this person is in a abusive relationship. That means they're still in an abusive relationship. Um, yes, I mean, you. It's very difficult to advise someone that is in that type of relationship, um, because then when you start advising and that person doesn't follow your advice, or it could it could just cause all different types of things to go wrong. The only thing you can do is be a good listener. That's really all you can do. um, of course, if your friend asks you for help, if you can help them, but other than that, be a good listener.
Well, I say this even with listening, people can tend to drain you because, as a good listener, they're going to constantly want you to listen, they're going to constantly want you to adhere to what they're saying and want you to. Most people in abusive relationships are not going to leave them until they're ready. So the majority of the time, people are just talking because they want to vent. Hey Val, people are just talking because they just want to vent and they just want somebody to listen to them. But in the process of listening, sometimes listening becomes too much for some people. So I say I wouldn't offer advice. I would just let them talk because basically that's what they want to do. They want to talk. They want to get it off their chest, and at the same time, when they're ready, they're gonna leave. And if they don't ever leave, then there's nothing you can really do. Hey, Val.
Hey, how you doing, Val?
So, to answer your question, the only way you cannot be drained is not to allow them to drain
Yeah, you can't. You just, and you have to be you have to be unbiased. You have to be unbiased. You have to take the information that's being fed to you, and you just have to just listen. That's it. That's your responsibility as a friend, is to listen. You can't, there's nothing else you can do. I mean, what are you going to do? If
you. Here we go.
if they're in a physically abusive relationship, what are you going to do? Are you going to go and fight for them? If they're in a mentally abusive relationship, what are you going to do? Are you going to speak for them? You can't do that. So,
Next question.
Yeah, next question.
So, here goes the answer to your question that you put up, Tanya. What are you guys' thoughts on? Here we go. What are you guys' thoughts as far as Bill Cosby? Do you all think he should have went to jail, being that he was 80 years old? You want to go first? Because mine is going to be real long.
Oh,
mine
well.
is going to be. Mine is going to. Can I go first?
Yeah.
So, this is how we going to do this. My problem with this whole situation with our people, because I can only speak for our people, because I don't know any other race. I'm black. I identify as black, and that's who I am. The problem with black people when it comes to rape and it comes to molestation is y'all like to sweep it under the rug. Y'all like to sit your kids at dinner tables with Uncle Fester and Uncle Charlie and Uncle Joe, and he done fucked all your kids. And they have to sit there with him on Christmas, on Thanksgiving, at the family barbecues, and y'all like to pretend shit never happened. And that's what y'all doing with this Bill Cosby shit. 60 people, 60 women, all have the same story. And they're not all white.
No.
Beverly Johnson and I forget her name, the African girl that was in Black Panther, that was his love interest. They're not white women. They're black women. So you can't sit and say that they're all white. I do agree with this. If Harvey Weinstein and all the rest of those white men don't go to jail because they basically did the same or worse than Bill Cosby did, that's when it becomes a race issue. Why does the black man go to jail for it and the white men get off scot-free? But, and I have to say allegedly because I wasn't there, if he did it, he needs to go to jail. Period. I don't care how long these women took. I'll put it out there. I was molested when I was little. It just took for me to be hurt for me to tell. Everybody is not going to tell. But as an 8-year-old kid sitting in a courtroom and listening to a 16-year-old say how I seduced him, how I came on to him, none of it happened. None of it happened. And nobody believed him because I was 8 years old. But listening to the lies he told on me of how I wanted it and how I seduced him and how I tricked him into doing the things that he did to me, watching my mother lose her mind when they kept asking me over and over again the things that he did to me, that fucks you up in your head. I get why people don't tell, but when you get the courage to tell, yes, it might be years later, but unless it happened to you, you don't know how that feels. You don't know what it feels like as an 8-year-old kid to sit there and listen to the lies that he told on me, how I used to lay naked and beg him and coerce him into doing the things that he did to me. Are you serious right now? Because you are not the victim. You're the cause for the problem. Now, I told There are other people that never tell, or they wait years to tell because you don't know the situation. Right. You don't, right, Val. Stop blaming the victim because you don't know the situation. You don't know how they feel. You don't know what's going through their head. You don't know. And then another thing that black people do, and I was a victim of this, another thing black people do is they sit and pray to God to fix everything. God ain't going to fix everything unless you take the initiative to get help. And in the process of getting help, I don't have a problem with praying that God helps the help that you're trying to get work. I don't have a problem with that. But black people will sit in squalor, and for example, with me, my mother refused to put me in therapy. She refused. Years later, she told me that she wished she would have. Now that she knew what she did, but they just prayed that I would be okay. They just prayed, but nobody knew what was going on in my head. Nobody knew, because of what happened to me, what was going on in my head. And I'm not talking about the gay situation. I'm talking about the things that I associated with what happened to me that played a large part in my life until I decided to go to therapy and fix it. I had to go to therapy to fix me because they chose to pray. And my mom has passed on, but this is conversations that her and I have had. So I'm not saying anything that me and her didn't have conversations about. And when I told her some of the things that shaped me as a person behind what happened to me, she felt bad. And I told her, don't feel bad. It's not your fault. You did what you were raised to do. You sat and prayed for me. But this is where black people go wrong, because that's what we're taught, to sit and pray. But how about this? How about you take action? How about you get help? And in the process of doing that, you still pray. There's nothing wrong with praying. There's nothing wrong with believing that God can fix it. Mm-hmm. But He can't fix nothing that you're just sitting there knowing that you have a problem and you're not doing anything to fix it. That's like sitting here going, I know my battery dead in my car. And I'm going to just sit here because one day I'm going to put the key in and it's going to start. And you sat here for 7 years just hoping that car started, but that car ain't never started. Maybe one day it said, and you thought that, oh, it's going to start, but it ain't never start. How about you get a jump? How about you go buy a new battery? How about you do that, and then you sit and pray that this new battery or that jump lasts longer than you thought it was? How about you do that? Because that's the problem that I'm having with this whole situation with Bill Cosby. And let's sit back and, right, Val, there's nothing wrong with therapy. But let's sit back and think about what he did to black people prior to this. He said that it was okay for the cops to shoot a black boy stealing a pound cake. He made Eddie Murphy feel like dirt to where Eddie Murphy had to call Richard Pryor because he made Eddie Murphy feel bad for the type of comedy he was doing. He sat on news shows and everything else and said black people was horrible. Why are we buying our kids $500 sneakers? We should be buying Hooked on Phonics. We talking Ebonics. Blah, 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 blah. Y'all was done with him then. Mm-hmm. But I get it. It's because to us, and I'm not going to say y'all because to me too, it feels like this is happening to him because they were white women and he was a black man. But no, I don't care if it was black women, he all did it too. If you did a crime, you have to do the time. It's just real. I don't care who you are. I don't care who you are. Y'all see Dr. Huxtable when you look at Bill Cosby. Y'all see the Jello Pudding Man when you look at Bill Cosby. I don't care if he was 110. His ass need to sit in jail like anybody else. And the next bitch they need to get is R. Kelly, because he's just as bad. And they need to send all them white motherfuckers that's up now Harvey Weinstein, that dude Kavanaugh. They need to send every last one of them that these women are reporting. And the only reason why all of them are coming out now is because they feel they have a voice behind what happened. Because just like I sat here and told my story, I might empower somebody else to tell their story. Everybody ain't gonna be open like I am. Everybody ain't gonna be honest like I am. But I have to, because that I know that shaped me. That shaped a whole beginning of my life. That shaped a whole lot of things about me. Am I proud about those things? No. Do I regret most of those things? No. Because it taught me and it helped me to learn and it sent me to seek therapy based on what I kind of already knew versus what she helped me through. So I'm definitely an advocate for therapy. I say if it happened to you, if it almost happened to you, it's still fucking with you in here. And until you find somebody you can tell, and until you find somebody you can let it out, it's always going to sit here. Because see, verbal abuse and physical abuse, bruises go away. But mental shit stays forever. Forever. And until you get it out and stop living in your past and stop letting your past shape your future, you will never be right. You will never be right. And you can sit and pray, because that's what I was taught. That's what I learned. Pray, 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 and it'll go away. God will remove it. Unfortunately, in my situation, God didn't fix it. I had to go to a therapist. Now, when she told me what was wrong and she helped me evolve past what I was going through, then I can say, you know what? God fixed that for me. God helped me help myself get a situation solved. And from there on, I can sit there and pray that I don't make the same mistakes that I made before. Hey, Lauren. But until he said he drugged her, or he said he drugged her his own way. Right. It was women before her. It was women before these 60s women. 3 women prior to these 60 that said he drugged them. And he settled out of court. You only settle out of court if you're guilty. There's no reason to settle out of court if you're not guilty. I mean, there's a whole lot to this story that don't make sense. I mean, if he gave you a drug like that to knock you out, how the hell you remember half of what you remember? Because, you know, I've been high before, but I ain't never been that high that I don't remember. But if I was knocked out, but again, I'm sure if somebody screwed you, you would know when you woke up that your little areas wasn't right. So I give them that. But the ones that start talking in detail, it makes you stop and think like, well, honey, hold up. You know all of this, but you were so drugged and knocked out. I'm confused. I get why people are so confused, but to sit and say he didn't do it when it's been 3 before these 60 and then 60 more women come through, no. That man did it. Y'all just, again, is looking at him as they should all do the time no matter what race they do. Right. I agree, Raquel. I agree. They all should go to jail. But, again, if Harvey Weinstein and Kavanaugh and all the rest, unless they come up with some real good proof that it wasn't him, I'll give him a pass. For Harvey Weinstein, he got just as many accusers as Bill Cosby. So if you put Bill in jail, Harvey just needs to just get his little orange jumpsuit together, because he has to go to jail too. He has to.
Mm-hmm.
Rose McGowan been saying he raped her for the longest. Before any of the women, Rose McGowan has been saying Harvey Weinstein raped her. So, I mean, it's just what it is. That's why I said I'll go for. I hope they all end up right. I hope they all end up in jail. If they did it, they all need to end up in jail, and that's coming from my accuser went to jail. My accuser went to jail, and they had to call my mother and tell her when he got out, so that I would know. I was scared to death. I felt he was gonna come and get me. I don't want to say luckily, but unfortunately, he was playing Russian roulette because he was bored And the first time he pulled the trigger, he blew his head off. So that was one less thing I had to worry about in my life because I was scared. Because the lies he told on me, I just knew when he got out of jail. And he only stayed a little while because he was a juvenile. So once he turned 18, 19, they let him go. And I was just about to go to high school, and it was scary. But again, you do the time. You do the crime, you gotta do the time. I've been a victim, and I wish people had believed me and something actually happened to him. And that's another thing. Some people tell, and people look at them like, he didn't do that to you. They didn't do that to you.
Well, I'm one of those people. I'm one of those people. So, I mean, if I seem a little set aback about this whole situation, first let me say this. I was one of those people that was trying to find some type of I was trying to make sense of all of this thing with Bill Cosby because I grew up knowing Bill Cosby as Dr. Huxtable. You know, Bill Cosby made milestones in the black community, becoming, a father on TV, a black man, a black successful marriage couple with children, and that was our role model. I mean, I grew up in a day and age where, there weren't too many positive black people to look up to on TV. I mean, I remember the first episode of Good Times. I remember.
They weren't role models.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, he was a part of that. I mean, I grew up, in a day and age when anybody that was black that was on TV, you didn't care what it was, you watched it. You did. And Bill Cosby was a part of that family. And for a long time, I was really in denial. I was really like, no, he couldn't have. I'm like, Bill Cosby, I mean, some of these women, they said it's like 60 women, and they said some of these women, this happened to back in the 60s and the 70s, and I'm like, as a black man, these women, and most of the women that were white, said this happened to them back in the 60s. I'm like, he's a black man, and he got away with this in the 60s. Could you imagine what would have happened to him, if one of these women would have reported it, back then? Why didn't they report it back then? I mean, he would have been lynched practically, but something really struck me today. I was watching The Real, and comedian Lonnie Love, she made sense of it all for me, really, and put it back into perspective for me. I mean, I had already, I'm a believer in the justice system. Does it work all the time? No, it does not. But I come from that world. My father was a police officer. My uncles were police officers. My uncle was a detective. I believe in the justice system. And I believe that if a jury has spoken, and that's just the end results of it, and the jury found him guilty, he's guilty. Now, going to jail at 83 years old, who cares? If you did the crime, your age shouldn't matter. If you did the crime, I mean, and I know, and I got a lot of negative feedback for making this comparison, but I'm just really gonna play devil's advocate here. Byron D. LeBeckwith, who was in his 80s when he got convicted for murdering Medgar Evers, was put in jail and died in jail. He was in his 80s. We didn't care if he went to jail. The fact of the matter is, he killed Medgar Evers back in the 60s. He shot this man down like a dog. So, the other thing that I'm like you, Joseph. The one thing that really infuriates me is that when things like this happen, we as black people want to play the race card. We did it with OJ. We did it with OJ, and look at what he did to us as black people. Look at what he's doing to us now. He don't give a shit. He don't care about us. OJ don't care about us. And do you think that Bill Cosby gives a shit about us and will give a shit about us in 3 years? Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And he said it before. And stuff that he said, I can
Yeah.
quote it because I have it on my phone.
Chickens from home to roost.
If you go on my page, you'll see a post that I shared that has everything that he has said about black people.
But it's the chickens coming home to roost, like Malcolm said. Like Minister Malcolm said, the chickens come home to roost. And I'm telling you, chickens, you people that have done these things to other people, I'm letting you know it's time for you to come home to roost. The chickens come home to roost.
We'll get you.
The chickens come home to roost. Now, I come from a place of sexual abuse. I was abused from probably age 7 up until I was about 18 years old by a relative, a close relative, a very, very close relative. And no, I waited. I waited many years. I think I was about 40 years old when I did tell my family, and nobody believed me. And he was right. He was right. My abuser was absolutely right. He said to me, Tramel, if you tell anybody, nobody will believe you. Nobody will believe you. That's the one thing he always told me. He told me no one would ever believe me. And he was absolutely right. Absolutely right. That has been the biggest regret of my life. It's been the biggest regret of my life is that I did not tell. I did not tell when it first started.
But
I did not tell. I told when I became an adult. And don't get me wrong, I don't dwell on this anymore. Please, don't feel bad for me. Don't feel sorry for me. Don't be angry because my family didn't believe me.
Amen.
But it happens. It happens. Nobody believes me. And to this day, nobody believes me. One person believed me. That was my baby sister. She was the only one that believed me. But nobody else believed me. And the ones that didn't believe me, the ones, if they did believe me, they didn't let me know that they believed me. They just, changed the subject or said, oh, well, that's your cousin. That's your cousin. And so it was like brushed off as if it was really no big deal. Yeah.
And I was lucky. I was lucky.
Joseph, can I finish?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm just saying,
I just need to get this out. I just really have to say that this, and you're right. You're right about the victim blaming themselves. I blamed myself for many years. And I did. I convinced myself. When he told me that nobody would believe me, I believed that. And that was the reason why I did not tell. And I carried that with me my whole life. Now, the saving grace for me is that this particular relative, after I turned 18, I did not have to deal with them anymore. I did not have to deal with them. I didn't have to ever see them anymore. We ended up having to have an encounter when a death happened in the family, and him and I had a conversation about it, and it really didn't change anything. But he still told me the same thing. He told me then nobody would ever believe me. He said nobody really wouldn't believe me then. And I'm sorry. I hate to sound cold. I hate to sound bad, but I'm glad the motherfucker is dead. I'm glad he's dead. He died. But that's what I mean by chickens coming home to roost. When you do bad things to people, you get them back 100-fold. You get them back 100-fold. When you don't treat people as you want to be treated, it comes back on you. When you've done shady and underhanded things, those shady and underhanded things don't stay in the shade for long. they come out into sunlight, and it's hot. It gets real hot. So that's what you need to think about. Those of you, those Harvey Weinsteins and those Bill Cosbys and those people that have done these horrible, unmentionable, and horrific things to other human beings. That's what you got to think about. Your day is coming. Your day, R. Kelly's day is coming. Harvey Weinstein, his day is coming. And even this Supreme Court judge nominee, your day is coming. You can't hide. You cannot hide from it. You can't hide from it anymore. There's nothing for you to hide from. Hide. There's nowhere for you to hide. Where you gonna hide? Bill Cosby, kudos. See ya. So long, see ya, sucker. I don't feel bad for you. And it's not that and I'm not talking about the horrible things that he has said about black people. I'm not talking about none of that. I'm talking about based on what you did to this young lady that you were convicted of. See, because we can't even talk about the other women because he wasn't convicted of in the court of public light.
Say allegedly what he did.
He's been convicted and prosecuted in the court of public opinion. He's been convicted and prosecuted, but allegedly these other alleged women that he so supposedly did this to, hey, his day has just come. His day has just come. But why is it we as black people, every time something happens to a black man in this country, and we know that he has done it, because we know he done it. We know. Y'all know, right?
Allegedly.
No. Y'all know.
But no, I saw a post that somebody put up today and said he did not do it.
No.
He don't
y'all
believe,
know
he don't believe.
that this woman, okay, I'm talking about this one woman.
No, what I'm
y'all
saying
know,
is he doesn't believe any of the women.
Okay, well then he can believe that all he wants to. Y'all know he did this. Y'all know. But everybody want to play, oh, well, he's black. That's why they're making an example of him. Good, they're making an example of him. It's just so they're not making an example of him because he's black. They're making an example out of him because he needs to be an example needs to be made of him. Period. Point blank. As far as black and white, because Harvey Weinstein, he going to jail. He definitely going to jail. I'm telling y'all right now, he's going to jail, and he's going to jail for longer. No, he going to jail. He going to jail, and he's going to jail for longer than Bill Cosby. I predict that. I predict it. He's going to jail for longer than Bill Cosby. There's no way in the world that he's not. There's no way in the world that he's not. So, yeah. That's what I think about this whole thing with Bill Cosby. Y'all stop playing the race card. Stop playing the race card. And the same system that you want to change, the same system that you want to believe in, start believing in it and start allowing it to change. That's it. And one other thing. For those of you that come from a place of abuse and you still have that bottled up inside of you, you're still keeping it to yourself.
Fix yourself.
Fix yourself. Even if you don't tell. Fix yourself.
Therapy, it works.
Fix yourself. And if you make a decision to tell, and this is my advice to anybody that is in my position, because everybody's situation is different. Like I said, whenever I made a decision to tell my family about what had happened to me, I didn't get the response. I got this. Nobody believed me, but the one good thing that I did was I discussed it with somebody that was unbiased, and they told me, they said, well, if you are going to do this, they said, Tramel, if you are going to do this, if you made a decision that you're going to tell family members exactly what happened to you, then you have to be prepared to accept whatever happens after that. You have to be prepared to accept the disbelief. You have to be prepared to accept whatever negativity you get from it. And that's what I did. Um, how I did that, I don't know. I just prayed a lot. I just prayed a lot. I just prayed and asked God to order my steps, and I prayed to ask God to 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 um to 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 just fix my heart from those who did not believe me. Fix my heart to a point where I wasn't going to hold any grudges or be mad or make this um, bring me into a even deeper depression, because it did depress me. It was the blueprint for my whole life, my whole adult life. It affected my whole adult life. Everything that I did sexual with anyone, from the time that from the time that I got away from my molester up until a certain age, it affected me. That whole situation affected me. And so if you can't tell, or if you feel like you don't want to tell, then fix yourself. Like Joseph said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with therapy. I still go to therapy. I still do. There's nothing wrong with it. I still talk about what happened to me. And that's the thing. Talking about it is healing. It's healing. It was healing. It's healing for me. I talk about it. I
Whether
talk
they
about it
believe you or not.
any time that it comes to my mind. My husband, I talk to him about it, and he listens. He listens to me, and that's all. Some people need. Some people just need an ear to listen to. Unfortunately, the person that did what he did to me, he's not here. He's not of this earth anymore. I hope he's rotten in hell.
Don't say that.
I know, but I mean that's just
Well,
how
I agree, 'cause
I
I
may
feel
feel
the
that way
same way.
now. I may feel that way now, but you know,
No, I feel the
I mean,
same
but
way about
please,
mine.
please, I'm human. I'm not saying I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for any of these words that are coming out of my mouth. I really hope he's rotten in hell. I really do. But
But
at the same time, as a Christian, you know, I know I'm not supposed to say things like that, but that's what I believe. I mean,
but you
I'm
don't
just
realize.
not. I'm still I'm still dealing with this, and I have been dealing with it like I said, most of my adult life, and I really only deal with it whenever it whenever it comes to mind, or when something is reminiscent of it. And this whole environment, this whole atmosphere that's happening today in the news is really is what's making it resonate for me again. Um, so, you know, I'm
I
not.
don't.
I don't want nobody to think that I'm just a cruel person and I'm not a forgiving person, because I am. I'm just like I believe me. I forgave my cousin a long time ago. I did. I forgave him a long time ago. But do I wish him? Do I wish he gets a key into his own mansion up there? Absolutely not. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't. That's how I feel now. I might feel I might feel different tomorrow. I might feel different, some other time. But that's how I feel right now. I hope he's in hell. I really do. I hope he's in hell. I hope he's burning right now.
Well, for me, it's different. I let go. I just.
I mean,
done
it's
with
not.
it.
I mean, trust me.
I
I've
let
let
go
go.
of it.
I've let go.
I just.
It's not about. It's not
It just
about me
was
not
what it
letting
was.
go. I've let go
When
of
I
it.
saw a little boy on the bus, and I looked at this little boy, and it was just, I don't know what it was about that little boy, and I'm looking at him with his mother, and I just started crying like somebody beat me up. And I just looked at him and I was like, oh my God, that's what was stolen from me. I was like, that little boy is so innocent right now. Anything I could take him and tell him anything and he would believe it. I could take him and tell him he can be anything in this world and he will believe it. And it ripped my soul to realize that I never had a chance to be innocent. I never had a chance to be innocent. Because after I told, guess what I had? A sex drive at 8 years old. Because now you were doing it. So now it was something that I wanted to do. It was things that, like, and like Tramel said, it shaped my adult life until I went to therapy. It shaped between my father not being there for me and being molested, it shaped my entire life. I was lucky enough that when I told, my mother believed me, even though his father, it was my stepbrother, his father and him tried to tell my mother it wasn't true. She took me to the hospital and they confirmed that it was very true what I told her happened to me. She tried to kill him. She decided to persecute him to the highest extent of the law. And like I said before, I had to sit there in it wasn't more or less court. They had me in a room with my mother and some other family members that chose to come, and watching my mother break down and watching her feel she was a bad mother because the majority of this took place while she was home. And it broke my heart. I felt like I did something wrong. I felt like I shouldn't have told because my mother is sitting there falling apart. Years later, I realized that she was hurt. She was hurt that it happened to me and she wished it didn't happen to me. But when you're 8 years old and watch your mother cry and screaming and carrying on, like, you feel like you did something wrong. And I remember I kept saying, I'm sorry, mommy, I'm sorry. And she was like, you didn't do nothing wrong. But it's still just a bad situation. So I get why people don't tell, because you could be like me and they all believe you. Or you could be like Tramel and nobody believes you. So it's just that double-edged sword. But what you really need to realize is you didn't do anything wrong. My manipulator told me that he loved me and that nobody else in this world ever loved me. And what did I always tell you? That nobody in this world cares about me. Nobody in this world gives a damn about me. But guess what? He fed that to me the whole time he was molesting me. He kept telling me he was the only person that loved me, and I was so pretty and I was so beautiful to him. And this was coming from somebody that was 16 years old. It wasn't a grown ass man. It was another boy. And because I accused a West Indian, because he was from Trinidad, of molesting me, his father cut him completely the fuck off when his father found out that it was true. His father stopped dealing with him. His father wouldn't talk to him, called him all kind of F words and you're not my son. And he stopped dealing with him.
And parents, keep checking your kids. I don't care how mad they get. Keep asking them all kinds of questions. If you have a little child and you are one of those parents, and you parents know who I'm talking about, you parents keep checking your kids. Check them.
Stop just leaving your kids with everybody.
Stop leaving your kids with everybody and anybody, and check your kids. If they come home from the babysitter, the preschool, wherever they are, and you feel the need, your spirit telling you to check them, check them. If your spirit is telling you to ask them questions. I had a friend, he had a little son, and I swear to God, I used to feel so bad for that little boy. His father, when he came home, his father used to ask him, he spent like 30 or 40 minutes asking him 10,000 questions. And I used to be like, why are you torturing this little boy like this? And he was like, Tramel, I've seen too many shows. I've seen too many things happen to kids. Too many bad things. Check your kids. Keep checking your kids. Keep checking them. Anybody that has come to you and told you that someone has done something to them is worth looking into. It's worth looking into. But anyway, let's move on to the next question.
So the next question is, this is really getting good. I'm talking about American Horror Story because you know I'm watching it while I'm talking to y'all. But I can't hear what's going on. So I gotta watch the rerun when this one goes off. Do you guys watch Empire? If you do, what do you think about the show? And how did you feel in the beginning when it showed how Lucius was being so mean to Jamal because he was gay?
Well, we do watch Empire. As a matter of fact, we just watched the newest episode, and it's really like, I think the momentum for Empire is just gone. I'm not sure, but it looks like this might be the last season, or maybe um, it's. I think Empire is about to run its course. Um, yeah, I still like the show. I still like it. I'm still an avid watcher of it. Um, how did I feel about Lucius and what he did to his son in the beginning? It was hurtful. It was hurtful. It was hurtful, and then it was really hurtful when I found out it was true. Um, um, Lee Daniels, um, you know, I think it was Lee Daniels who said that this is what this is what happened to him as a child, and that's what inspired him to put it on the show. But of course, I didn't like it. Of course, I didn't like it. Um, and it reminded me of what happened to me when I came out. When my father asked me that question. My father couldn't even say the words. He couldn't even mouth the words. He just asked me, "Are you that way?" And as soon as I uttered the word yes, I couldn't even get the whole word yes out of my mouth, and I was met with a punch.
So,
But yeah, I of course, yeah, it bothered me. It bothered me. In any child that has had to endure that, or is enduring that right now, it hurts. It hurts me as a person, even if, and this has absolutely nothing to do with me being who I am. And you guys know I don't like to label myself. I don't consider myself gay or straight or heterosexual, or I am just who I am. It has nothing to do with who I am. Any child that is either abused or ridiculed or teased for anything,
hey,
for
Leslie.
that matter, it bothers me. Or anybody for that matter. I tried. I really have tried to atone for some of the things that I have said about people, and um, in a negative light, and I really try to be a little bit more compassionate, have a little bit more empathy for people that endure shaming in any type of way, whether it be fat shaming, anything of that nature. I try to have a little bit more empathy for people like that. So, yeah.
Well, I'm gonna just tell y'all like this. For me, I don't have a problem with calling myself gay because I'm gay. So whenever I see something on TV, whether it be Empire, whether it be the have and the have nots with the way Veronica treats Jeffrey, it's no different than if I'm sitting here watching Roots or Mandingo. The same way I get an attitude and I get mad inside and a fire builds up in me when I see how white people treated us as slaves, I get the same fire burnt up inside of me when I see people treat gay people in a certain type of way. Because at the end of the day, when you find out that I sleep with a man, I don't care how much you laugh and smile in my face, you feel the same way about me. It's just what it is. You feel the exact same way about me that you're running around saying about other people. Don't sit and tell me that I'm different. Don't sit and tell me that it's different for me because I dress a certain way or I act a certain way and I don't do what other people do. You don't know what I do because you only see me in front of you for the moment. You don't know how I live my life. You don't know what I do. You would have to be with me 24 hours a day. So, yes, I get infuriated. I get mad. I get angry. I wish that I could take that person's place so that I could act the fucking fool for them.
Oh, of course we all do.
But, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It is what some people endure. Again, I didn't have to endure stuff like that, and I thank God I didn't have to endure stuff like that in my whole coming out process and being who I was. And once I embraced who I was, Once I embraced who I was, it was on and popping. I did anybody.
Well, I've
I
always
did
embraced who I
anybody.
was. I mean, that
Well,
has.
no, no, no. What I'm saying is, for me, there was a denial stage. There was, I don't want to be this way. I'm the son of a preacher man. I can't be this way. So when I say embraced who I was, I knew it, but I didn't want to be that. I couldn't be that. That could
I don't
not be
think
my
any.
destiny.
You know what? Really, I think in the black community, I can feel safe in saying this from, especially in the day and age that I come from. There were a lot of us, gay black men, that did not want to be the way we were. I was devastated, and you know, any of my family that's out there listening, I was devastated when I realized that I was gay.
I mean, most of us
I
are.
was I was I wanted so bad to not be this, because I, as a child, my childhood was a nightmare for me. It was a nightmare for me. I was teased every single day of my childhood. Going to school, guys would tease me. I used to have guys waiting for me on the corner, waiting to beat the living shit out of me. My childhood was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. It was. I didn't get balls until I got out on my own. Honestly, I didn't have to endure what I endured as a child. And you know, it's so sad for me, sometimes, because I feel like, wow, so many people in this country, so many adults, like so many people my age, they have so many good things to say about their childhood, that you know, they didn't have to endure some of the things that I endured. Um, and I get sad sometimes, because you know, and I get, sometimes it's like I get jealous, because um someone had a better life than me. Now, as far as a better life, I'm not talking about financially or anything like that, because my parents always gave me the things that I wanted as a child. I never had to want for anything, but um there was always this distance. There was always this distance that I had, this separation that I had when it came to my family, and it was simply because of who I was, and the way I was. I wasn't the most, I wasn't the most masculine kid. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the most, but I wasn't that flamboyant either. But um, I endured that. I mean, I've been thrown in garbage cans. I've been locked in lockers. I've had to hide. Like, I got jumped. I got jumped by about 15 guys one time, all just because of who I was. So yeah, you're damn right. I get mad. I get infuriated about it, and you damn right. I wish sometimes I can jump through the TV. I wish that when I saw that, I wished I could have jumped through the TV and took a gun and blew Lucius Lyon's head off. I sure do. Yeah, yeah. Mhm. But anyway, going to the next question. I know y'all. I know y'all looking at me like, damn, Shamel, you are the
I'm the
one.
peacemaker
You're the
tonight.
one that's always the voice of reason. But I'm telling you, this is a very, very, it's a very, very sensitive and touchy subject for me.
Right, and
It
because
is.
we had two different, you're looking at two men that have had two different outcomes in
Yeah.
situations. So where I can be the voice of reason in this time, he's me. Where get him, kill him, do what you gotta do,
Yeah.
fuck him. In this situation, for me, it's more okay. I've done it. It happened. I'm okay with it because it was what it was, and my
Mhm.
outcome was different than his outcome.
Mhm.
And we honestly, before this live, we have talked about it amongst ourselves and how our outcomes came out. But in the end, at the end of the day, our outcomes were different, but it still molded who we were.
Mhm.
So whether they believe you, whether they don't believe you, whether you embrace your gayness and didn't have to fight for it, or whether you had to fight for who you were, it still molds you and it
Mhm.
still creates a person because of your situation and surroundings. Yes, my family never made fun of me. My family never did anything. But what they failed to realize was the things they were saying that I kept up here.
Mm-hmm.
That's what molded me. See, I didn't have to endure some of the things Tramel endured. I had to endure the talk of how being gay was wrong or laughing at effeminate gay men in front of me, not knowing that I am who you're laughing at. And that's why it bothers me so much now. Because I don't care if it's the man in pumps and a pocketbook with a beard and makeup. I don't care if it's quote unquote what we gay men call a queen. I don't care if it's a DL man. I don't care who it is. If you make fun of somebody gay, you're talking about me. Because at the end of the day, I am those men.
Right.
Just no different than if a white person called a black person the N word in front of you. At the end of the day, you're going to take it personal because you are that black person.
Right. Yep. That's right.
So it's the same thing. But we done.
That's it.
That was all 3 questions for tonight.
Oh, you know what else we didn't talk about?
What?
Steve Harvey.
Well, we need to hold off on that.
Why?
Because we do. I'll tell you when we get over here.
Okay. Well,
because a lot of that was from last year, not this year. And if you Google some things that were said, it's not true.
well, no, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that he lost his show.
No, that's not true.
That's what I'm telling you. His show has been canceled.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, his show has been canceled.
We'll talk about it.
No, Steve Harvey's show has been canceled. His talk show has been canceled and has been replaced by Kelly Clarkson's show.
Only in some time frames.
No, it's been canceled.
No, babe.
No, but the fact of the matter is it's been canceled.
No, it hasn't.
Yes, if TMZ said it's been canceled, it's been canceled. Well, it's been canceled over here on the East Coast.
No, not here.
Yes, it has.
Okay.
It has. So, Steve Harvey, your show has been canceled. Let's talk about it. Now, a lot of people are saying that's a black and white issue. What you think?
No, this is all black people involved in that, so it can't be a black and white issue.
Do you don't think that it's a black and white issue because his show is being replaced by Kelly Clarkson's?
But that's the thing. Hey, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If you Google it,
No, you're reading the wrong Google pop-up.
BET.
You can't go by BET.
Listen to me. It's not that his show has been canceled in all markets. It's that Kelly Clarkson is going to lead into Ellen instead of him leading into Ellen. So, you need to check the listings to see what time he's actually going to come on. In some markets. In some markets, he was totally canceled. In other markets, he's still going to come on, but just at a different time. And like the whole Family Feud thing. There's nothing saying that he quit or got fired from Family
Well,
Feud.
I'm not talking about Family
No, his
Feud.
show is... that's what I'm saying. You gotta Google it because
No, I don't have to Google it.
No,
because TMZ says
but BET
that Steve. No, you can't go by BT. You can't
but
go by
they
BT.
talk to his
no,
representative.
Papa. You can't. You gotta understand. You can't go by BET. You gotta go by what news is the head news, the headline news. TMZ reported Michael Jackson dying and being when he died.
Well, TMZ be on
TMZ
point
is
with
a very
lot of
reputable. Is a very reputable news. Would you agree? Would you agree?
Yeah,
that they're very reputable.
On point with a lot
and
of stuff
if they
before
and would you say
even
this?
happened.
But would you say this? If there was a retraction to be made about it, wouldn't TMZ retract it? You don't think they would retract it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's all I'm saying. What I'm saying is this: according to all the major news outlets, Steve Harvey's show has been canceled. Now, it may not be canceled in all markets, but it appears as though it's been canceled in a lot of major markets. Wouldn't you say New York and New Jersey are major markets?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well then he's been canceled. And that's just another example of the chickens coming home to roost. R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, Steve Harvey Weinstein,
Well, ain't nothing happened to R. Kelly.
etc., etc., etc. Oh, trust me, it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. So, with all that being said, thank you so much for tuning in to us tonight. The conversation was great. We covered a lot. I hope you guys enjoyed our commentary.
And thank you all to all the ones that were watching.
And thank you for all those people that sent us the questions as well. We really appreciate it. Please keep the questions coming. Also, don't forget to like and follow our page here on Facebook. Please follow us on Instagram and Twitter. And also, please, we need your support. Please sign on to our YouTube. When we sign off here now, this is what I'd like for you to do. I'd like you to go directly to Google and
go to YouTube.
And in the search engine, put in the McCray King's Corner. I'm going to spell that for you. Kingz, as in zebra. The McCray King's Corner. That's McraeKingz. The McCray King's Corner. And please like and subscribe our page. If you would like to, if you have missed this episode and you want to view it again, you can view it here on Facebook, and you will also within the next 24 hours be able to view it on YouTube. Please hit that subscribe button. We really do need your support. We thank you for joining us once again tonight.
And if you're on YouTube, just go to Facebook and like and share our page on Facebook. The McCray King's Corner on Facebook. On Twitter and Instagram, it's the McCray Kingz. Not Corner, but just the McCray Kingz. And again, it's Kingz with a Z.
That's correct.
We have a lot of different things coming up. We have a lot of different stuff coming up.
But for now, I have to stay off my feet.
And I'm not going to run down all the stuff until it's going to actually become available.
Right.
But we have a lot of things coming up. Look out on YouTube for our interview with Tracy Allen, author of the book Don't Let God Smell Your Panties. And coming soon is the second interview with her for her second book, the follow-up book to Don't Let God Smell Your Panties, My Panties Clean. My Panties Clean. And with that being said, I hope all of you have a good night. Thank you all for watching. We appreciate it. And peace.
Team McCray.
All day. Go ahead. I ain't fighting with you tonight.